Been a little bit. I've been out of town doing some traveling, but I'm so happy to be back. My name is Angela Petrilli here with a brand new live episode of the Riff Rundown with my friends at Fishman. So happy to have you guys and to be back. Today we're going to be learning a really fun tune. It's called Lovesong by The Cure. And this one has been on my list for a while to teach, and it's a fun one, definitely geared towards everyone, beginners, intermediates, advanced. There's gonna be something here for everyone. So before we get started, folks, let me know where you are tuning in from, and let's see, your favorite love song, since the title of the song is Love Song today. Let me know what your favorite love song is, your favorite ballad. Cesare, good to see you, my friend. We are live, so folks, welcome. Thank you for being here. All right, let's go over this tune. This is Love Song by The Cure. So we're going to be going over all of the parts today, all right? Some of the rhythm sections, what the rhythm guitar player is doing, what the lead guitar player is doing. We're even going to take some bits of what the keyboard is playing on this. So if you have a listen here, the beginning sounded very sparse, and in fact, you would be correct. There's lots going on with the bass on this song, a ton of keyboard action happening too. This is such a fantastic song, and as I mentioned previously in my little teaser, during the week, I said this was covered by 311 as well as Adele. So have a listen to those two versions too. They're so cool. And I think a great song is a great song when it's covered in many different forms and still sounds just so incredibly awesome. And this is just, I mean, it's a great song. So let's go ahead and get to it. So for the intro, okay, there's this really beautiful chord here. It's not simply going to be an A minor, right? Which is cool on its own. We're gonna do this thing here. We're gonna make it an A minor 9. So we're gonna add a B note to this, and it's gonna sound like this. Really cool and jazzy and beautiful. I love 9 chords. They're a ton of fun. So let me show you how to do this. So this is gonna be an A minor 9. So as we know, a minor chord, what do we need? The 1 flat 3 5, that's going to be our formula to make a minor chord, right? With this A minor, A, C, and E, those are the 3 notes that we need. However, we're gonna add a B along with it, which is that 9, okay? So what we're gonna do here, first finger, placing that on the 5th fret of the G string, B string, and E string, just like this, okay? So if we're looking at those notes going from the G string downward, 5th fret of that G string is gonna be C, okay? And 5th fret of the B string, which is E. That's our 5, and our 1, A, 5th fret, E string. So right there, there's our A minor triad. What we're gonna do here with that 3rd finger, I'd like you to place that on the 7th fret of the D string. That's gonna be another A. All right? So if we strum those 4, right there, it's a really cool A minor chord. But to make this A minor 9 with that added B note, get that 4th finger, placing it on the 7th fret of that E string. That note is B. Just like that. Not great. Such a cool chord. Now, when we listen back to the tune, and I highly encourage all of you to listen to this song, it's so great. There's lots of effects with the guitars and all of that. For this lesson, I'm keeping things really clean here, but when you're at home, experiment with all those pedals that you have. I'm sure a lot of you got them, so experiment with those sounds, but today I've got a Strat, clean tone right through a Blues Junior. And as always, this is a live Q&A, so if you guys have questions about the gear and all of that good stuff, would love to answer that throughout the hour. Okay, so there's that A minor 9. Now this is ringing through, all right? It's gonna be the same chord in the verses. Now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna look at our first riff. I'm gonna be calling this riff number 1, all right? And it's gonna look and sound like this. All right, so let's go ahead and have a look at this. What are the notes? How do we play this? So, first finger, placing that on our C note. It's going to be on the first fret of that B string, all right? But what I want you to do here is I want you to have that E string ring. We're going to have that high E played through this entire riff to give it a little bit of body and a little bit of kick, okay? So, just like that. Now we're going to place that third finger, third fret, the B string. That note is D. And notice how I'm still having that high E string ring. All right, I want you to do that too. So here we go. Now from here, we're going to slide that third finger, 5th fret, the B string. Check this out. That's an E note, and so is that. So we're having these two E notes together. And we're going to slide into that just like that. All right? So just like that. Let's go ahead and do that again. Okay, so now from here we're going to go back to that third fret of the B string. Go ahead and use your first finger to get there, all right? Now we go back to that E note, 5th fret of that B string. Don't forget to have the high E in there too. All right, so here we go from the top. Again. Okay. Now we go back, 3rd fret of that D string. 3rd fret D note, 3rd fret of the B string, B as in boy, to C, 1st fret of the B string, just like that, all right? Nice and slowly here, let's go ahead and do that again. We're gonna end this phrase with the A note here, 2nd fret of the G string, play it by itself, just like that, all right? So nice and slowly, let's go ahead and do the whole riff one. All right, so just like that. So this riff is going to be repeated 3 times, just as we did it. Now, what happened here for that last time, if we're playing this as a single guitar, this is how I would approach it. I would do something like this. And get right into that A minor 9. So to give it context, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the riff 3 times through. Then for the final time, I'm just going to play the first half and then land into that A minor 9. All right, so let's play this through together. All right, let's start with that A minor 9, let it breathe. If you got a really cool delay pedal, a cool reverb pedal, even something with maybe a little chorus too, it'd sound really great. All right, so we're gonna do A minor 9 into the riff, ending at A minor 9. All right, here we go. it is. Pretty cool stuff, right? I love these A minor 9 chords. They're so fun. All right, so let's see. Let's go ahead and do this. We're gonna play it a little bit faster now, all right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and read off where all of you guys are from. Again, if you're new to these lessons, we go over some of my favorite songs live in an hour. It's a live Q&A too, and it's just, we have a ton of fun. There's a really great community here, and again, I wanna really reiterate how cool it is because I read these comments as I'm teaching too. It is so cool to see how kind everyone is to each other on here. Know that I see it, and I so appreciate it. So thank you for making this community a really welcoming one, whether you're beginner, intermediate, advanced. Know that I see it, and I really love what's happening here. So thank you all so much for that. All right, so let's go ahead from the top. We're gonna do a little bit faster. Here we go. Do it one more time. Here we go. And also too, if you happen to get that low A in there, check this out. Sounds pretty cool too. All right, so again, leaving that up to you guys. Again, I plant the seeds with these lessons. All right, again, The Cure wrote an absolutely stunning song. It's such a beautiful one to play, and I really encourage you guys to listen to the covers by 311 and Adele. They are equally beautiful and awesome. All right, so let's see here. All right, so for the verse, we're gonna hang on this A minor 9 again. So where they start singing, whenever I'm alone with you. Right? We're gonna stay on the A minor 9 chord. So now what we're gonna do here, so we're gonna go into riff number 2. All right, so I'm gonna play it to speed, and it's gonna sound a little bit something like this. And again, when they play this live, and I watch a ton of live videos of these guys playing this song live, it's different every time. It's different every time. So I'm playing it like they did on the album-ish, like they did live. So have a listen to some of the live versions too, and you'll see how they have that are the artistic license to go ahead and play things just a little bit differently every time they play it live, which I always think is a super cool thing to do. So let's go ahead and look at riff 2 here. So before we really get started at this, I really want to mention that alternate picking is key to making this sound awesome, nice and fluid, nice and clear, and all of that good stuff. So we really want to make sure that we alternate pick this. So folks who are new, haven't watched this yet, and don't really know what alternate picking is, it's where we pluck the top of the string and the bottom of the string. So for the first note, we would touch the bottom, or the top rather. And then if we're striking a different note, we would strike from the bottom of the string. Notice how my hand, down, up. It helps us really build speed. It allows us to sound very fluid as we're playing lines as well. Okay, that's not the riff, but just, a little pentatonic example here. Watch the right hand. Top, bottom of that string. All right, so something to keep in mind here. It's something I see in a lot of my beginner students when we're playing a line and we're only striking the top of the string. We want to be a lot more fluid. So using alternate picking, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. All right, so let's look at this riff. I have broken it down in 1, 2, 3 different parts. Let's go ahead and look at that first part. So the first part sounds like this. We're just going to stop right there. okay? So what we're gonna do here, let's talk about the notes. We have an A note, 5th fret of that E string, use your first finger to get there, to B, 3rd finger, 7th fret of the E string. That's our B note, okay? So we're gonna hit C 2 times. C is located 8th fret of that E string. Now notice the alternate picking here. All right, so let's go ahead and play that through a few times here. Okay, pretty simple. So now let's look at part 2. Let's talk through the notes here. So we've got 7th fret of that E string, B note, to 5th fret of the E string, that's A. We're going to go back to B, strike it twice. Don't forget to alternate pick, down, up, okay? Just like that, all right? So let's go ahead and do that again. Going back to A, 5th fret of that E string, with our 3rd finger, now we're going to go ahead and go to the 8th fret of the B string, that note is G. Then going to the 5th fret of the E string, we're going to strike this note 2 times, that note is E. Okay, and that's all of part 2. So let's look at part 2 on its own. Let's play through it a couple times, and then we'll combine it with part 1. All right? So here we go. Let's take this nice and slowly here. Again, those of you getting used to the alternate picking, let's really take our time. All right? Let's do that one more time and then we'll combine it with part 1. Now part 1 and part 2. Let's do that again. Okay, one more time. Now if we give it a little speed, here's what it sounds like. Let's do it again. So you hear the piano playing this, or the keyboards rather, on the track. All right, so. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at part 3. So part 3 is going to sound like this. Okay, just to close things out. So in context, I'll go ahead and play through the whole thing. Here we go. Okay. I'm supposed to end on the fifth fret. Again, we're live, folks. It happens. All right. So let's go ahead and do this again here. Nice and slowly from the top. Repeat One more time. All right. So what we've got there, 7th fret of that G string, that note is D, to the 5th fret, which is C, to the 5th fret of the D string, which is G. All right, so let's go ahead here, play it through nice and slowly, part 1, 2, and 3. Repeat. One more time. All right, so that's going to be that riff 2. Again, they do it different every time when they're live and all of that stuff. It is just something, it's a great, great tune. And again, giving you artistic license here. So let's go ahead from that riff 2, we go into a second verse. Guess what? Back to that A minor 9. Now, from here we would go to a chorus. So the chorus would sound like this. I'm first going to play it as if I were the rhythm guitar player. All right, so it would sound like this. Then from there we would go into our riffs. So those of you who are watching there, all right, we're going to have an F major, we're going to have a G major, we're going to have an A minor, and a C. All right, so this is how, when I was watching them play live, this is how they did it. With this version of these chords. They're not quite bar chords, right? They're different versions of these chords, and we'll talk about them in a moment. So this is how they do it, how I want you to play it here. First finger, placing that on the 1st fret of the B string and the E string. All right, so that's our C note here, 1st fret of the B string. Our F note is here, 1st fret of the E string. Now, this is an F major chord. What are the notes that make up this chord? It's going to be F, A, and C, our 1, 3, and 5. All right, so right there we have a 5 and we have a 1. We're good. We just need to find our 3rd, our A, and there it is. 2nd finger, placing that on the 2nd fret of the G string. That note is A. All right, so if we were to play that, that's an F triad, but we want to make it a full-fledged chord here. We're going to go ahead placing our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of that D string. This note here is F. So to make these chords successful, all right, because this shape we are going to be moving up the neck. Now, I don't really want to see your thumb up here for these, okay? Place your thumb in the middle of the neck, okay, towards the middle of the neck, right where you start to feel it curve a little bit. Place your thumb there, almost like your 1st finger and your thumb, they're almost looking at each other, like if they're looking through a mirror, all right? So just like that, we want to pinch through, all right? Especially for my beginners here, I know these chords are really tough, particularly when we're squeezing more than one string with one finger, all right? So we want to place that thumb towards the middle of the neck to help you grip it a little bit better, all right? For my advanced students, you can use your thumb, but make sure that we've got a good grip on that C and that F right there. But when I was watching them play, I noticed there wasn't any thumb overhang. All right, again, just something I noticed, thought I'd share it with you guys, all right? So there's F, F, A, and C. This is just gonna be, we're gonna let it ring, right? We're not gonna strum this. We're really gonna let it ring. We're setting an atmosphere here. All right. Now, David's asking, question, why not use the full F bar here? Simply because when I was watching them play this live, they didn't do it that way. Could you? Absolutely. But with this part, I wanted to keep it as close to the way the Cure plays it live as possible. And this is how I noticed they did it. But could you play an F bar chord? Absolutely, David. You totally could. All right. So from here, we're going to go to G. Now, it's a little theory, right? F and G, they're a whole step apart. So if we move this chord shape up a whole step, that should be G too, right? Because all of those notes are coming up a whole step as well. So F becomes G, C becomes D, A becomes B. And then to make our G major chord, G, B, D, 1, 3, 5, there it is. All right, so just like that. And again, we're going to let this ring. So F to G, to A minor. So here's that shape. We talked about it earlier. It has come to revisit us, all right? So that first finger, now we're gonna play 3 strings at once with this one finger here. So your first finger across the 5th fret of the G, B, and E string, all right? So those notes, if we're counting from the G string downwards here, 5th fret of the G string is C, all right? 5th fret of the B string, that's E, and A, 5th fret of that E string. So just like that. Now, we want to add another A here into the bass. That's where the 3rd finger comes in, 7th fret of that D string. You're going to strum those 4 strings only. If you happen to get the low A string in, it's fine. Gives it a little added extra bass if you'd like, all right? So just like that. Okay, so let's go through those, and again, whole notes here, let them ring. Now, keeping that thumb in the middle of the neck, particularly for my beginners, all right, have it as a guide as you are going through the neck of the guitar. Well, not going through the neck, you're right, you're sliding across the neck. Have that thumb be your guide. So that A minor. Now from here, we're gonna go to C major. So we're gonna go back to that shape that we were playing with this F chord and this G chord. But what we're gonna do here is we're gonna play it at the 8th fret. So first finger across the 8th fret of the B string and the E string. All right, so with our C chord, what's our 1, 3, 5, C, E, and G. So those are our target notes, so let's go ahead and find them. All right, so first finger across the 8th fret, the B string, and that high E string, all right? So right there, 8th fret of that E string is C, and 8th fret of that B string, that's G. Now, our second finger here is going to go to the 9th fret of that G string, and guess what? That's E. So right there, we found the 3 pieces of the puzzle. So there they are. All right, so now what we're going to do here is your 3rd finger, place that on the 10th fret of the D string. That's another C. So we're going to strum those 4 just like that. All right, so when we hear this whole thing in sequence, F to G, A minor to C, here it is. All right, so David, you're 1 step ahead of me. Could you do this all as bar chords? Absolutely, it would look something like this. But with this song, they don't really use those lower strings, right? Because the bass is so moving and just really setting this really great groove. Again, listen to the track. It is so awesome, particularly with the bass and a lot of what the keyboard is doing, I think is just so tasty and awesome. So you could totally play it as bar chords too. That would be a second option, absolutely. So that F there, rooted at the 1st fret of that E string, to G, to A minor, to C major. You could. Now for my beginners, where both of these options seem a little bit too much for right now, again, I want you building up to this, but my beginners, if you want to play these as open chords, we could totally do that too. So F, unfortunately, we got to keep it here. Okay, just like this. So my beginners, check this way out. So just like that. So there's your F. we can go to a regular G chord here. First finger, second fret of that A string. That note is B. There we go. Compute. Okay. Second finger, third fret of the E string. That note is G. That's our root. All right. Third finger, third fret of the B string. That note is D. And then G with the fourth finger, third fret of the E string. And you can do that as an open chord. All right. Then to A minor here, A, C, and E. Let's find them. First finger, first fret of that B string, that note is C. Second finger, second fret of the D string, that note is E. And your third finger playing A, second fret of the G string. So you can do that. And then from there, switch to C. Now for my beginners here, I am a big fan of pivot points. Have a look at this. When I am switching from A minor to C, notice how my first and second finger do not move. Now, with this version of these chords, and I'll play it through again, we're not getting as like those really nice climbing higher pitched chords that we are in the way that the Cure does it. I really like how this climbs. If I was playing this live, I would do it in this fashion. All right, I think it's pretty cool. So this is going to repeat 3 times, the F, G, A minor to C. Then after that, one pass of F, and then another pass of our G chord, and then we go into our riffs. So this is what the rhythm guitar is doing. So if we have a look at what the lead guitarist is doing in the chorus, it would look something like this. It's similar, slightly more embellished. I'll show you. So it's like this. So as you can tell, the C major chord here is not present in this progression because we're doing that riff. Now, let's go ahead and look at that again. The F and G, we're going to keep as is. Once we start getting to that G chord, we're going to add a little bit of embellishment here. What we're going to do, keep your hand as is with that chord, all right? We're going to strike the B string, then the G string, then the D string. So just like that. Okay, so let's go from F to G and then add that in. Again. One more time. From here, we're going to go to our A minor 9. So just play your regular A minor that we discussed in the last version, right, that the rhythm guitar is doing. But from here, place your 4th finger on the B note, 7th fret of that E string. Nice, cool, jazzy chord. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead and do that again. Let's do that again. And then let's add in the embellishments. That's for A minor 9. Let's do that again. Just like that. Now let's talk about the riff. So this part, this melody line, this riff that's in that chorus, it's mimicking exactly what the singer is singing here. Da 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 da. And we're going to play it here on the guitar. All right, so just like that. So let's go ahead and talk about those notes. So let's get all this with my charts. We're good. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to get our 3rd finger, 7th fret of that G string. All right, that note is D. Now we're going to go back to C, 5th fret of that G string, to the 4th fret that note is B, B as in boy, to A, 2nd fret G string, to the open G string G. So the whole line. Now, I'm choosing to play it this way. I saw that there are different ways to play this riff, but I was keeping in mind if you are playing this in a band, you're playing this as a one-person guitar player, right? I want us to get easily back to this F chord, which is why I'm having us do this riff in this way. See how we're right there when we play that F chord again? So that's why I'm doing this. Now, could you play these notes anywhere? Absolutely. We're going to talk about that in a second too. So that's why I have it written out like this for you guys to play. All right? So let's go ahead and do this, okay? Adding in that riff with this, all right? So here we go. We'll do it a little slower and then we'll pick up speed. All right, so here we go. Here comes the riff. Back to our F, to G. A minor 9, riff. Again, F. One more time. Then we would play an F chord to a G chord. And then we're back to our opening riff. All right, so let's go ahead and play that through. Then I'll give you yet another option as a lead guitarist. So say you're playing this with another guitar player, I'll give you another option too. So let's go through this nice and slowly here again. So what we'll do, let's do this. We'll play rhythm guitar part. We're going to go through that a few times. Then we'll do the chorus as if we were playing lead, and then I'll give you another option as another lead suggestion. All right, here we go. So chorus as the rhythm guitar player. Here we go. Repeat. Last time. F to G. Into our riff. All right. So now we're going to be the lead guitar player. Let's switch hats. So here we go, guitar 2. To riff 1. All right, so just like that. Now, I promised a second option if you are playing lead, even if you're playing with a looper, right? Sam's mentioning a looper. Yes, this is where one needs a looper pedal. Totally agree. Yeah, it's good stuff. So if you have a looper, this is a fantastic song to play one with. So what we can do here, this is not how The Cure does it, all right? Again, I'm just giving you an option. This is a little bit of an added bonus with these riff rundown lessons. And again, if you're enjoying the riff rundown, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps the cause, and to check out all the cool stuff that Fishman is up to. I left a video link I left a link in the video description. What I'll do, I'll even add it to the chat here, folks. There we go. So I left a link there if you want to check out more on the cool stuff that Fishman is up to, including the pickups that I'm using here, the Fluence single widths. You can check those out there with the link below. So there you have it. So here's another option. Again, as I mentioned, The Cure does not do it like this, but, you know, I figured it'd be fun. And why not include it? So what we're going to do here is we're going to do an F to G to that A minor 9, including that other riff that goes within that chorus, but we're going to play it in a different spot. So it's going to look and sound like this. I'll do this a little slower here. So here we go. So let's talk about how to do this. And then from here, we're going to go into the guitar solo, go through the tune again, and folks, that'll be the lesson for today. I'm so glad to be back doing this live too. It's been a little while. Happy to be with you guys here today. So let's go ahead and look at this different inversion of F major and G major and this A minor 9. So what I'd like you to do here, so there's F, looks a little bit different, right? Because we have a different note in the bass here. So what we're going to do here, I want you to get your first finger, placing it across the 10th fret of the D string, G string, and B string. All right, so those notes there, 10th fret of the D string, all right, that note is C. 10th fret of the G string, all right there, that note there is our F. All right, and then 10th fret of the B string, that note is A. So again, F, A, and C, there they are, right there. 1, 3, 5, done. So, third finger, I want you to place that here on the A. We have A in the bass here, so if we're being technical, we're playing an F over A, or an F/A chord. So, there's that chord there. Again, we will let this ring. All right. Sliding this up a whole step, so your first finger should be on the 12th fret of the D, G, and B string. Guess what? Those are notes, D, G, and B, done. So there's our G chord. But this time we're gonna have our third finger here on the 14th fret of that A string, so that's gonna be a B. So this chord, in fact, for being very technical here, is going to be a G over B, or a G/B. Now, if getting that B string maybe sounds a little bit too high for you, you can exclude it. And it'll sound like that. If you want to include the high B string, it's going to sound like this. Okay? With some good delays, this will sound epic. This will sound so, so cool. So, here's what we're going to do next. Let's look at that A minor 9, all right? So again, what are those notes? That A, C, E, and then that high B. So let's find them. So I want your third finger on the 12th fret. Yes, the 12th fret of the A string. Second finger, placing that on the 10th fret of the D string. That note is C. And your first finger here on E, 9th fret of the G string. Little bit of a stretch. Fourth finger, placing that on the B note, 12th fret of the B string. Cool way to get there, right? Yeah, I hear ya. Aren't these minor 9s cool? I'm getting a lot of love for these minor 9 chords. They're so great. So there you have it. All right, so check out how well these blend together. Really, really awesome stuff. Let's do that again. Let's include that high B this time. Pretty neat, right? So here it is without the high B string on the F and G chords. Let's do that one more time. Now we're going to do the riff here. So this would be how the riff is played. See how I could play this riff anywhere on the guitar? As long as we know the notes, we can find it elsewhere. So 10th fret of the D string, there's our D note. All right, then we go to C, a whole step back, 10th fret of that D string. Let's go to our B, 9th fret of that D string, to 12th fret A string, A note, ending on G, 10th fret. So with that riff, let's go ahead and play the whole part. Again, this is an option. This isn't how the Cure does it, but giving you options. So here we go. Let's do that again. Don't forget to alternate pick. To F, to G. And then we go to riff 1. But here's the cool thing. Riff 1 and riff 2, say that 10 times fast, are played simultaneously. They're played over each other. So again, if you have a looper, this will sound so good. So good. So having gone over all of this stuff, let's go ahead and do a recap. Okay, so from the top here, going to go through the intro to riff 1, to our verse, which is the A minor 9, let it ring. Then we get into riff number 2, into our chorus. And I'll let you know with the chorus when we're switching from rhythm to our lead guitar player role. All right, so here we go from the top, A minor 9, getting a lot of love today. Here we go. Riff 1. This is our verse, okay? Now we go into riff number 2. Into our chorus, let's do rhythm. Let's do a bar chord version. Let's do a beginner version. Back to the Cure's version. Now to F, to G, to riff 1. All right, so now chorus as lead guitar. Let's put the lead guitar hat on. Here we go. F to G, riff 1. All right, so now let's do option 2, not what the Cure does, but again, something to give you another option in playing lead. Here we go, all the way up here. Let's do minor. F, G. To riff. Riff number 1. Cool, right? So that's what's happening there. And again, folks, this is a live Q&A. I'm going to take a moment to tune. Those of you who have questions about the gear I'm using today, all of that good stuff, let's take a moment to answer some of those questions. Oh, G string, I knew it was you. There we go. All right. So, It's cool stuff. I know. People are, I'm so glad you guys are liking this song. I'm so happy to hear that. It's a really, really fun one. It's a totally fun one. Thank you all. I'm so, so happy you guys are enjoying it. Yes, I want to give you options. I'm glad you guys are enjoying those options too. Giving you different ways to improvise with the song and give yourself the opportunity to make it your own too. So I'm really, really glad you guys are liking that. I've been getting a lot of feedback from you guys. Really enjoying when I give you all different options on how to play certain chords and playing them in certain places on the guitar. So I will keep doing that because I know you guys really enjoy it. And again, if you're enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really does help the cause. Again, it's all about helping people here. And be sure to share these videos with a friend and all of that good stuff. It really does help the cause indeed, and I really appreciate it. And as always, if you guys are enjoying these lessons and want to check out, the gear I'm using, including, these Fishman pickups that I have in my Strat, the single widths and all that good stuff, be sure to click the link in the video description too, and it'll send you right there. It's good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead now and look at the solo. So I will go ahead and play it through, and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna break it up into parts too. And those of you who are beginners, don't stress. It's a beginner-friendly one too. All right, a little bit of stretching, but it's well worth it. All right, so here we go. So that's what's happening there. Not too bad, right? So we're going to break it up into sections here. Someone says this sounds a lot like Careless Whisper. I mean, those minor 9 chords, right? Gotta love that. Ooh, getting some requests. Love to see a lesson on 1979. That is on the list. Don't worry, that one's coming. That is on the list. Oh, this is great. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. All right, getting some love for the turquoise ring. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Love it. Thank you all for being here, guys. This is great. Let's get to this solo. So we're going to do here, first finger, 7th fret of that high E string. That's going to be our B note. And we're going to hit this 4 times. Again, don't forget to alternate pick here, all right? Just like that. Top, bottom of that string. So that's our B note there. We're going to go to a G note here, 8th fret of that B string. We're going to strike it 1 time. Now we're going to go to this note. We're going to go to a C. That's on the 10th fret of that D string. I think this is a really, really cool harmonic choice. I think it's a beautiful note to play with this. Okay, so that's our first part. Let's go through that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play that B only 2 times, and it'll sound like this. All right, so let's combine parts 1 and parts 2. All right, so here we go. Let's do that again. Now what we're going to do here, we're going to play B 3 times. So the first time, 4 times. Second time, 2 times. Third time, 3 times. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. Let's do that again. Now, for part 4, it's going to sound like this. Going to B, 7th fret of the E string, hammering on to C, 8th fret. We're going to hit that D note twice. Just like that. That first and second finger, all right? So let's go ahead and combine all these parts, shall we? Here we go. All right. So that's what's happening there. Someone is asking, hey, how do you do vibrato? So with something like this, I don't want a lot of, we're not doing that. It's not that, the solo doesn't call for a really aggressive vibrato here. The way that I look at something like this, we want it to be really, really delicate. We want the pitch there, right? So if we're playing a B note, we want it to be B. But notice how I'm giving it a little bit of a wiggle. I want the note to feel like it's moving, but I don't want the pitch to move. So I don't want to do like a, because you hear it going to C, for example. But with a very light touch of a vibrato, think of like the wings of a hummingbird. Right? We're moving in a small space, keeping that wiggling there. So I'll have you listen to that without my commentary here. Hear how the note moves, but the space around the note moves, but the note itself stays. It just has like a little bit of body, right? And it floats a little bit. Now, if you ask, let's see, if you ask that to anyone else, another guitar player, Snack Sparrow, if you ask that to someone else, they may give you a completely different answer than me. This is just my opinion, but at least that's the way that I look at it. So I hope that isn't clear as mud, and I hope that answers your question. Really good question. So again, live Q&A, folks. Thanks for the great questions. So let's go ahead and do that again from the top. Now, here's the next part. Pretty simple stuff, right? We're going from G to A, 8th fret of that B string. We're going to strike that G note 3 times. And we're going to hammer onto that A note, and then we're going to hit it 2 more times. Just like that. All right, let's combine it now with the rest of it. So now what we're going to do here for the next part, we're going to do a little bit of sliding here. All right. Getting that 3rd finger, 7th fret of that G string, okay, that's their D note. We're going to slide it up to E, 9th fret. Okay. Then we're going to go back to that D note, 7th fret. To the 5th fret, okay, that note is C. Back to D, back to C, all right? And we're gonna strike that a couple times. Listening to them live depends on what they're feeling that night. Sometimes a little shorter, sometimes a little longer. Okay, so let's do that part again. One more time. Now let's combine it with the rest of it. Here we go. Now we have this as our final part. first finger that's on that 5th fret of that G string, slide it back to the 4th fret. That note's going to be B, C to B. Now we're going to get our first finger here, 5th fret of that D string, to the 7th fret. And we're going to do that twice. Okay? So there we go. All right. So let's go ahead, play the whole thing part by part. Let's do it. So notice how I slid in that last part. You can do that too, from that 5th fret of the D string to the 7th fret of that D string, that G to A. You could slide in, then hammer on, or do both. All right, let's do that one more time, folks, and we'll call it a day. Again, I want to thank my friends at Fishman for helping me do these week after week. If you want to check out all the cool stuff that they are up to, I have a link in the video description. If you're enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It helps the cause. Check out my website, AngelaPetrillimusic.com, when I'll be playing a show near you. I've been getting some questions about the EP. We'll be recording 2 weeks from today. So on August 27th, 2022, we will be recording. So yes, it's very exciting. All the tunes are done. We're going to rehearse them, and we're going to record them. We're so excited. So I've been seeing all the questions about the EP during the hour, and yes, it's going to be really fun. We're really excited about it. So let's do this solo one more time, and we're going to call it a day. And again, thank you guys so much. Here we go. So there it is. There is Lovesong by The Cure. Be sure to check out that tune. Give it a listen. It's absolutely fantastic. I will absolutely be teaching more Cure songs throughout the Riff Rundown series. It is such a fun one. Again, be sure to listen to 311's cover of it as well as Adele's. They are all different, and they're all awesome. They're all awesome. Such a beautiful, beautiful song. So again, thank you all so much. As always, wishing you so much success in your musical journey. I'm rooting for you. Again, thank you for the kindness. It is so cool to see such a great community that is being built here with these Riff Rundowns. So thank you all so much. Again, happy playing, folks, and I will see you live next week.